Alright guys, well, the moment of truth here. It's been nearly 24 hours. It's one thing I like about using thinner blades is that when they do, it doesn't take as long to anneal them as thicker ones. So, let's see here. Okay, it feels cool. Okay, good. We're cooled off. Alrighty then. Yeah! Look at that little puppy. Yep. No scorching at all. A little bit of slag adhered to it, but that's, that's fine. That's fine. So, whoo, that's a success. Let's see here. Kind of a dull ring to it. That's good, which means that's not as hard. It's like sort of like flint knapping in a way, how I choose my steel. It's like if you ever done flint knapping, basically you want to look for like rocks with a high pitch sound to it. Usually those are with a good cutting edge when you're flint knapping. And well, I just kind of discovered that with steel. Is that steel that if I have a piece I'm going to be working on and I flick it and it has a nice little high pitch bell sound to it and it reverberates for a while, that's good steel and it makes a nice good cutting edge, and it seems to be more durable. Much durable. I don't know why I said more durable. Anyways, so let me show you what the stuff I'll be working with, and let's get on. Welcome to my laboratory. Made the table myself here and found a pair of wooden legs, table legs here, metal, which I attached the table to. Anyways. I'm going to be making a stacked handle knife, as we all know. What I'm going to be using is, glad I'm not forging now. Well, here's the safety equipment here. Safety glasses, ear protection, and an N95 dust mask. When you're grinding metal, it's, can kick up a lot of bad stuff that you don't want to breathe in. Got birch bark I cut out. Piece of bone, piece of antler that I'm going to have towards the guard, and I'm trying to decide whether to use a piece of brass or copper. I'm not sure yet. I'll get to it when I get to it. But in addition here, for the butt I'm going to be using is curly birch root. Very dense. I thought the dog chose this one here, but nope, she wanted this to herself. Apparently she didn't want this to be used as a knife handle. So, thought about this one, nice and thick, but I've decided to put this down here, go with this piece. It's dense, hard, and so I'll be using this as the butt. So, alrighty, so let me show you how I'm going to do this here. If I get to make the rat tails hang. All right, here we go. So, what I'm going to pretty much do is kind of measure out with my hand where the grip is going to be, where I'm going to hold it. I anticipate probably 1/4 of an inch, roughly maybe 1/2 inch extra space towards the end here. So, I'm going to take that. Mark it there. Okay. Now that we got the line, across where, the base of the blade meets the handle. So what I'm going to do is kind of take a kind of a measurement here. want a kind of a nice beefy tang towards the blade here. Wow, I need coffee, I think. Ooh. So, then I take my handy dandy. So, that looks pretty much, for the most part, square. Apparently I failed kindergarten coloring. Can't stay in the line. Alright. Now, what I'm going to do is get this adjusted so we could all see it. There we go. Like here, I'm going to take I could use a Dremel tool or my angle grinder. I'm going to use my angle grinder. I suggest starting out, use the Dremel tool. It's a lot more controlled. It'll take a while, it'll take longer, but at least you won't go all the way in and annoying stuff. So, alrighty. So, let's get to cutting. Woo! Yeah. Ear protection, eye protection, respiratory protection. Something good to have when you're doing this stuff. You don't want to get yourself sick and get something nasty later on in your life. So let's get to cutting. This is the part that, here, let me adjust this here. There we go. This is the part that starts getting really tricky. Because you could come up here, then go boop, right in there. And you have a nice little gap. It doesn't do anything for structural integrity, but for aesthetics, it's kind of irritating. So, alright, let's get this part here done. Okay. Wearing my face mask here, so if I sound a little muffled, here, hold on here. Okay. Alright, I'm going to use the Dremel tool. I could use the grinder, but I'm going to use the Dremel tool more so because it gives me more control. And, well, a lot of us do have Dremel tools, so might as well show how it's done. Ugh. Make sure the cord reaches. I like to score a line so it'll have something to follow. This is why I prefer the angle grinder over the Dremel tool. Already went through 3 discs right here so far, and this costs about like $5. One of these discs, it's not plugged in, is like $2.99. So yeah, sometimes you have to pay extra to have better equipment. So, well, I'm going to show you using an angle grinder on this, but first I'm going to kind of make a scoring mark for it to follow. All right. All right. Well, I know I said I'm going to use 1x30, but I'm also going to use my other belt sander here, just to shape this up a little bit faster and such. So, hope you guys don't mind. Putting earplugs in. Getting the basic shape out right now. I'm just going to work on this part here. So, we're getting there. Woohoo! All right. Okay. Well, ooch. Got the nice basic shape out. I'm not going to put a full edge on it. I'm just going to make a pre-edge. Make it easier that way. And round out the tang a bit more and remove some of the burrs here. So, here we go. Okay, what I did is I squared off the back a bit more to make it more even. So now I'm going to put the pre-edge on it. Normally some people have gigs. I don't. And they also have platforms. I don't use the platform because I like to use it. This part here is to help guide it. But mostly I go by feel. So here we go again. Okay. You can see here the got the basic grind here so far. It's not too thin yet, but that's okay because that's what I want. Is I just want a nice little guide of when I'm done. When I quench it, then I can put the final edge on it. So let's start on the other side. Alright, got a problem here. Had to switch out one of my oldest sanders. The other one just kicked the bucket. Literally just stopped working. The joys of this. But anyways, here's, get in view there. Here we go. Here it is. Got the pre-edge done. Not sharp. You don't want that yet because it will burn the edge. But anyways, it's ready to be quenched, and then put my mark on it, quench it, and then temper it, polish it up, and then we can start on the handle here. So more to come. Hey guys, quenching's gonna have to wait a bit. Wind's really picked up, and well, because I do live in a fire-prone area, and I don't need these this wind to pick up any sparks or embers from the forge and blow them into someone's yard and, well, burn someone's house down. We've already had a problem with that in the past. Not for me, but, you know, someone's dumped out some hot ashes from the wood stove, and it caused a major fire in the wintertime at that. So yeah, well, I'm gonna wait, and hopefully, you know, it's about lunchtime anyway, so I'll get some lunch and see what goes from there after lunch. Maybe I'll actually quench, and maybe I'll even show you how I'll split that piece of steel with a. Oh my God! I love it when your brain just goes. Durr! So yeah, a chisel. That's what it is. It's a chisel. Yes, you can make your own piece of chisel out of a piece of rebar, and I'll show you if to help minimize stuff. I'm not going to use a rebar, of course. I have my own chisel, so yep. Wait for this wind to calm down, and we'll go from there. So, yay. Alright, what I'm doing right now is I'm putting the blade on top of the coals to warm up. Putting it right into the coals. I could probably do that, but I'm also running the risk of it being shocked. It's been, when it's under below zero, not below zero, below freezing last night. And if I was to take that and shove it into red hot coals, expansion and contraction, that type of thing, can have disastrous results. So, alright, well, I'm going to warm it up, get it to, forging temperature, smack my mark in there, put it back in to heat it back up, and then quench. So here we go. Okay, well, this is my mark. It's basically a deer hoof. I cut and ground into it, and it's basically an old nail set. So things you could do. Alrighty, well, the blade's almost ready, so here we go. For this, I don't need it to be glowing red, so one more for good luck, and the blade falls off. So there we have it. There we go. So yay, now quenching time. Okay, basically for small blades like this, is I like to use paint cans filled with vegetable oil. It's easy, it's quick, and it works. So there we have it. A little idea there. So, all right, enough stalling, Joe. Right? Yeah, let's quench the blade. There we have it. Quenched. Let it cool down a bit, and hopefully it did not warp, because that's usually PIA, if you know what I mean, when that happens. So let this cool down a bit, sit in the oil for a while and see what happens. Okay, the moment of truth. Let's see if it quenched true. Okay. Good on this end. And yep. And it's cooled down. It's nice and cool to the touch. Perfect. Now I'm just going to set this off to the side. Let the oil drain off of it. Then wipe it off. And then put it in the oven to cook for about 2 to 4 hours. Whenever it turns into that nice straw color. I might, sand this. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah. Fun trying to look at a monitor upside down. But yeah, polish this off a bit so I can see the metal a bit more. And when it reaches the annealed temperature, which is going to be a nice dirty bronze color, then we know that it's perfectly tempered. So I'm going to set this off the side to dry. And then I'm going to show you how to cut a piece of leaf spring in half without going all the way through. Something I learned watching Tim Lively. I've already scored a line here with this massive chisel I have. Everybody needs a massive chisel. Trouble is, this thing will jump around a bit, but this is going to be the cool part, is when you're about, 3/4 of the way through, I'm going to show you something cool. Okay. Little bit more. We're about halfway. I want to go about quarter way more. Whoop. Okay. Well, it looks like we're there. So, yeah, pop through here. There we go. Now, I'm going to show you a neat little trick what you can do with water here. So, stay tuned. Now, this is one thing I've learned. By pouring it into the crack, hopefully it'll work. If not, well, c'est la vie. There we go. Steamy. Of course, right now, may have done it wrong, but it's going to get entertaining. There we go. Basically, the premise is that you get the center hard enough to where it shatters down the line. But as you can see, it seems to be more of a struggle than it's worth. That's why I would like to use cutting tools. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So, One piece, two pieces. So now you have two pieces to work with. So, whew. Gives you a workout, that's for certain. But anyways, show you how you can cut a piece of leaf spring in half if you don't have a cutting tool. Hence why I have a cutting tool. So let's check on that knife and polish it up. Well, kind of give it a little quick polish. Rub down and then put it in the oven to cook for a couple hours. And we're burning daylight. Not sure if I'll get to part 3 of this, of getting it together. But who knows? I like to push things, so. Alright, wiping time. Okay, here we go. Not too bad, not too bad. Got some clearing here, but I want to sand this a bit more, get a little bit more of the metal out so I can actually see the tempering, and I'll be right back. Okay, just gave it a quick down dirty sanding right here, just so I can see the bare metal, and now time to cook it. Okay, as you can see, the temperature is 350 degrees, which is what I'm going to put it in. Times 153. Go ahead and check it around, say approximately around 4 o'clock or so, to see if it's tempered or not. If not, well, I may have to leave it in for another half an hour to an hour, and hopefully it'll be tempered enough that I'll have enough daylight to polish this up and then put this together in my office. So let's put it in. Be careful putting stuff into the oven. So there we go. Now we wait. Okay, it's 3:53. It's been 2 hours since I put the knife into the oven. So, well, let's check the color. Well, it doesn't look like it's color I want yet. It's still fairly silverish, so it looks like we have to put it in for at least about another hour. Okay, well, one more hour to go. Okay, well, it's been 3 hours now. Let's just check to see if it's fully tempered here. Doesn't look like I'm going to have time to take it outside and polish it up. Losing daylight here rapidly, so let's take a look. Pardon the stuff here. Ah, there we go. There we go. That nice kind of tan, straw tan color. That's what I'm looking for. So, there we go. Annealed. Okay, well, I guess tomorrow we'll polish it up and start putting the handle on. So, yay. See you tomorrow. Morning, guys. Well, got out here. It's quite cold again this morning. But here's the knife. It's not polished up yet. I'm just fitting the handle up to see how much bark I need. Here's the antler I cut off a piece to go up here. Here's the brass. I decided to go with the brass guard here. The bone I cut off for this, like a kind of a spacer in the middle of the way, and the curly birch rootstock here. I'm going to measure that, once I get all this layered up and everything after I polish this off and such, and we'll go from there. But first thing I need to do is stabilize the antler. Dang it. As you can see, it's quite porous. If I drilled a hole right in, it would just go right through the sponge part, and it may or may not work itself free, even if glued in. So what I'm going to do is mix up some resin and impregnate it, the center here, with it. So it'll still look the same, but it'll be a lot much harder. So here we go. First thing I'm going to do before stabilizing this is drill a hole, where I have the X here, in that hole there, and then I'm going to use my Dremel tool and gouge out the hole so I can fit the knife in. So, yay! Here we go. You know what? I decided that after drilling out the guard here and everything, decided to do the bone. And then I just realized, decided, why don't I just stabilize this and then drill it, and then get all three done in one fell swoop. Instead of just, doing this, wait, doing that, wait. Just get all three done, and then just go from there. So, all right. What I'm going to do is use some fiberglass resin. Got the hardening agent. My little stirring stick. And one thing you're going to want to use, which I truly advocate, is wearing latex gloves or some type of gloves on your hands, because this stuff is nasty. Can actually burn you. But mostly it's basically like super high polymer glue. It'll get your hands all sticky, and then it'll discolor them. Turn this like kind of blackish stain on it. So it's kind of nasty. Anywho, well, let's get going on this. First thing first, get the gloves on. And once I get all, the bone, the brass, the antler drilled out, then I use the Dremel tool, and I'll grind out the space to insert it on, so I can know exactly how much I'm going to need. I have a few spacers left of bark and such, and more importantly is how long am I going to have to cut. Here it could be a little piece like this, or I don't expect it to happen, but the whole bloody thing. So anywho, let's go. You may think I'm using quite a bit, but you'd be surprised how much a piece of antler would soak up. There you go. And if I use too much, well, it's better to have too much than not enough, Yeah, let's do it this way, that way you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. And let it soak in a bit. I mean, at the very least, what I'll have is basically some type of, epoxy seal that'll help keep it from breaking apart and such. So let's do the other end here. starling. I'm surprised they're still around. Well, it's been getting kind of mild again. It's supposed to be in the 50s starting tomorrow, and then cool back down again. But it looks like we're also getting dry again. I guess that's good. Not really. And this is also known as stabilizing. You know, some people use other components to stabilize wood, antler, bone, etc. I use what I have. Usually, sometimes not the best, but it works. As I said before, it ain't wrong if it works. Oh, this stuff is nasty. Think of turpentine on steroids. God. That's why I'm doing it outside. If I do it inside, you probably would have to use a face mask or something like that. One of those like chemical filters and such. Spilled some of my pants one time. Thought I got all of it off until I got inside, and my wife was like, take them off. You know. Usually I was hoping that way, but it wasn't that way. So yeah, had to take them out and let them air outside. And as you can see, this the antler is actually soaking up quite a bit of the resin, which is what I want. I want it to get as much in as possible, so it'll be nice and hard. That way, when I drill it, especially sometimes when you drill antler like this down the center, you have the marrow or sponge start breaking apart on you. And yep, it's soaked through. Good. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I should put it on something that'll make it easy to get up. Otherwise, it's going to be a regular pain in the where. Yeah, a little bit more, I think. There we go. Okay. Looking at the instructions again, just to see how long it's probably going to take. Yeah, don't say. Yeah, got text. So, anywho, I'm going to let this sit and soak in more. And when I come back, it's dried out. I'll drill it and we'll start on polishing up the blade and such. So, alright, more to come. Okay, what I'm going to do is get these two ground out a bit, so I can get this onto the blade here. And before I polish it up, I want to get this nicely fitted so I know where it's going to be going, and then polish the blade up, and then start putting the layers on. So here we go, putting the eye protection and ear protection on. Oh, and I apologize for those wearing headphones. I should have probably put the disclaimer in the beginning, don't wear headphones. I'm going to spare you guys the noise and just kind of pause this for a bit, finish up here, and show you the finished result. Okay, well, not a perfect fit, but hey, still better than nothing. Kind of a hairline gap, but you know what? That's fine. I could easily put tape over this when I add the glue to keep it from running down the blade and to fill in the gap. So there we go. Guard down. Now for the antler. I'm setting the Dremel tool on low speed, mostly for more control and, well, more control. There we go. One antler. So, woohoo! Now to polish this blade up. So, stay tuned. Okay, got the rough polishing gun right here. Now to do the main polishing. There we have it. Nice and shiny. Time to do the other one. Hey guys, well, got it polished up here. Gonna use the good old WD-40 here to get all the stuff off. Yeah, nice and shiny. So, now we're ready to start putting the handle together. So, here we go. Alright, well, pardon the sunlight here. Been taking my time with this thing. So, first thing we're going to do is get some tape on this. If I could find out where. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is, well, put gloves on it. Because I'm going to be using Gorilla Glue wood glue. I like the products. The wood, the tape, the glue, it's all good stuff. But I also have 2-ton epoxy. I'll be using that primarily for the antler, the guard, and the butt. So, with that said, let's get the show on the road. Okay, well, one thing I forgot to mention, if going to use like the 2-ton epoxy, is if you want to give it to a kind of rustic, old-fashioned look like, you know, maybe pitch or pine tar or birch tar, to like how they used to use, like anything like that. You want to make it look like that? Powdered charcoal. When I put it on, you'll see in a way how it looks. So let's mix this first batch up. Oh, you gotta love the cold. There we go. Here we go. Looks like a gob of pitch or tar. It ain't pretty, but it works. So nice push down. Okay. There we go. And now the first birch bark. Let me put on. Helps to have a good seat. There we go. Personally, I like to have it, the glue squish out to the sides. That means I know that every surface is being covered. And in case you're wondering, I removed the most of the paper on it, on the paper side. There we go. Like to have a nice, good amount of glue on it. That way, I know it's gonna, the handle's gonna hold together. You could use the squeeze epoxy like I just used, the 2-ton epoxy or whatnot, cures a lot faster. The only problem with this stuff is it takes, a little over 24 hours to cure. But, I like to take my time on these things. The fun part's going to be is when I get to the part I'm going to put the bone on. There we go. Yeah. One more. There we go. That's one thing I like about this stuff is it doesn't set up that quick. Decide which end. So. Let's see here. Cut right about in here. And it's probably longer than needed, but that's in case, for grinding, cutting, etc., etc., etc. When I get back, I'll have that piece. You know what? I'm not liking this piece right here. I have some extras, so yeah, it's curling up on me too much. There we go. This one's much better, much more behaved. So, as you can see, it's bowed up. Oh, dreadfully annoying. So, alrighty. Have to take these off again and give myself another pair. Oh my god. Really should have brought the whole box out here. Oh well. Well, I'm going to cut this piece and make sure it's the right end. Okay. And then drill it in and etc. etc. Repeat, repeat, repeat. So, be back in a bit. Okay. I made a nice cavern in there. Fits on. May seem like a lot, but the truth be told is I'd rather have too much than not enough. The joys of the cold makes epoxy very thick, difficult to work with. And as I said before, I'm no means an expert. I mean, as I said, this is the way I do my stuff. You may have your way, that's fine. You know. So, to each their own. Fill this hole up full of it, so that way when it hardens, it's going to harden around the tail, and secure it fully in there. And then add a little bit of this wood glue. Look how it just settled right on in there. There we go. Now I'm also going to need pressure on this for the next 24 hours. How am I going to do that? Let me show you. Okay, what I have here is I clamped it down in this little portable vise here. Put a piece of leaf spring I have here on top of that, and then stack some more pieces, some rocks, and extra pieces of metal to put a continuous downward pressure. If you don't need something like this, you could use a 4x4, 2x4, just tap your blade in there to where it's snug, but you could still get it out. What you could do then is put your stacked handle on it that way, and then you could even get like a 2x4 or a board and just put weight on it, not too much, because otherwise it may cause you to do this. So yeah, that concludes part 2. The 2-ton epoxy is going to take about 8 hours to cure. Unfortunately, the wood glue is going to take 24 hours, give or take, to cure and harden up. Yeah. So yeah, part 3 is going to be shaping the handle, making a sheath for it. I'm going to be using like a wooden insert to put in there. Sort of like what the traditional Finns use in their knives. Not Finnish, by the way. I'm Celtic, but hey, to each their own. Anyways, thanks for watching. And tomorrow or next day, who knows, whenever this cures, and then we'll start from there and conclude with part 3. So, here we go. See you tomorrow.